backcountry skiers caught in an avalanche and stuck on the side of the mountain for hours today. We'll show you how they're doing and some of the issues that rescuers faced.
He's just very loving and very caring and such a great man. We lost a very great man.
A community coming together tonight to pay their respects to a man who was killed in a local church parking lot. Hear how his loved ones are remembering him.
We continue to see distance learners struggle more consistently than we do in-person instruction.
And a disturbing trend that the pandemic is now revealing. We go in depth to see the difference between in-person and virtual learners.
The weekend storm that brought snow for most of the state is moving on, but another storm approaches. Will you see rain or snow? I'll let you know.
Live from Utah's news leader, Fox 13 News at 9 starts right now.
First on Fox 13, 4 backcountry skiers are safely out of the backcountry tonight after being caught in an avalanche. It happened near Pfeiffer Horn Peak on the border of Utah County and Salt Lake County late this morning. Those backcountry skiers were stranded for hours today. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Brian Schnee.
And I'm Amy Nay. Fox 13's Sydney Glenn was there as those skiers were hoisted off the mountain by a helicopter.
Brian and Amy, right over here is where those 4 backcountry skiers were brought off the mountain by helicopter. And Sergeant Spencer Cannon with the Utah County Sheriff's Office says these 4 men are very lucky to be home tonight because there was a period of time today where they just didn't know if that was going to be possible. Weather was a major issue. The sound of this helicopter meant these 4 backcountry skiers' nightmare was almost over.
They said it was a pretty hairy experience.
4 men in their 20s were partially buried in an avalanche Sunday.
And these are people who have a lot of experience in backcountry skiing.
Luckily, Sergeant Spencer Cannon says the skiers were able to call for help, something that's pretty rare in these type of situations.
And so we knew a lot going into this.
Things got pretty dicey. Also, the weather had rescue crews wondering how long these 4 men would be stuck in the snow.
And we were prepared to send materials up there, drop off care packages to them so that they could stay the night, have a tent and blankets and sleeping bags.
Instead, only 1 set of care packages had to be dropped off. This gave them food and water and supplies to get ready to be flown home.
Once we got the care package up to them, it had some splints in it. They were able to apply the splints to the 2 that had the injuries, or at least the one that had the injury, and get them stabilized.
As each man got off the helicopter, they thanked those who saved them from what could have been another tragic ending to an avalanche.
When the volunteers come here, they're doing it because that's their passion.
2 of those backcountry skiers did have to go to the hospital tonight, one of them by ambulance, the other by private car. The other 2 backcountry skiers suffered some minor injuries, but they didn't need any sort of medical attention. Sergeant Spencer Cannon says these 4 men were very well prepared. They had all the necessary equipment. They even went so far as to check the avalanche forecast. Unfortunately, he says sometimes things like this just happen, but again, a great outcome considering what happened here today. In Alpine, Sydney Glenn, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Breck Bolton in the Weather Center tonight. Breck, that is a good point. Sometimes you can check the forecast, you can check the conditions, and the snow can just break under you, and it seems like that's what took place today.
Absolutely. And the formula is simple, especially this season. More snow, more concern, as we, of course, over the weekend got pounded with snow, particularly in central Utah over towards northeastern Utah. Didn't see much across extreme northern Utah, thus the conditions, as we look at the concern level, good. More moderate is returned towards areas such as Salt Lake County, Wasatch, Summit counties. Uinta Mountains, though, considerable danger right now, and that's the similar situation towards the Manti skyline. Now, southeastern Utah, it's high right now where, again, you got hit with a lot of snow. Earlier on, we have winter weather advisories. Throughout the Uinta Mountains, winter storm warnings, they have expired, but leaving its mark, getting some reports, especially the eastern Uinta Mountains, 20 to 40 inches of snow. Yes, that's why the concern level still definitely have to keep in our sights here if we're having to do any backcountry experience or adventure. Now, looking across the state, that storm exiting, but boy, It is bringing the snow still through Wyoming, down through Colorado, and then of course towards the Central Plains. As that wraparound moisture really not having an impact across the state. Some clouds in place, yes. We could still maybe see a brief snow shower extreme eastern Utah, but we're letting go of that threat. And for northern Utah, we're actually looking at partly cloudy skies. So for tonight, partly cloudy conditions. We're in the 30s along the Wasatch Front, but we're getting ready for our next storm. It's coming in from the south once again. Similar track to this last storm. Do we see snow in southern Utah? And what about along the Wasatch Front? I'll let you know coming up.
Breck, thank you. We'll see you in just a few minutes. Today, the state of Utah reached a significant milestone in the fight against COVID-19. More than 1 million vaccine doses have been administered in the state. More than 365,000 Utahns are fully vaccinated. Just under 668,000 people have gotten at least one dose.
State health officials reported just under 400 new cases of the virus today. Now, over the past week, 8% of people tested got a positive result. 167 Utahns are hospitalized for the virus at last check.
6 more Utahns have passed away due to COVID-19, according to today's report. The 5 men and 1 woman that died were from Davis, Salt Lake, and Utah counties. 2,027 people in Utah have passed away from COVID-19 over the past year.
Meantime, health experts warn that there could be a spring surge in COVID-19 cases as states roll back restrictions and Americans travel for vacation and spring break. Today, Dr. Anthony Fauci warned people against letting their guard down, even as vaccinations increase and those daily cases continue to drop. Dr. Fauci also doubled down on the importance of getting vaccinated when it's your turn.
If you wait just a bit longer to give the vaccine program a chance to increase the protection in the community, then it makes pulling back much less risky.
Now, Dr. Fauci's comments come as Texas, Mississippi, and other states reopen their businesses and lift their statewide mask mandates. Utah's mask mandate is expected to be lifted April 10th once Governor Spencer Cox signs the so-called COVID-19 endgame bill into law.
Tonight in Kearns, family members and people in the community came together for a vigil at a local church to honor the life of Alonzo Gerardo Garcia Mendoza.
You'll remember he was shot and killed at that same church's parking lot last Tuesday. Police are still searching for a 4th suspect involved in his killing.
Fox 13's Diego Romo spoke with the victim's loved ones about how he was a loving man who always put family first.
He was the glue. He was the foundation. He was a great man. He was a loving person, a great father.
Garcia Mendoza's sister, Maricela Camacho, says even from a young age, he was always the father figure in their family.
He took it upon himself to grow up at an early age and be there for his sisters and be that father figure for us.
Adding that family was the most important thing in his life.
He always wanted to do family events. We always were having family dinners. Everything was family. It was family first always.
He's literally saved my life. I owe him my life, and now he's gone. He allowed me to grow up and learn from my mistakes and become a mother.
Camacho describes her brother as the type of man who would give you the shirt off his back.
The shoes off of his feet, the pants off of his legs, everything.
His siblings say the thing they will miss most about him is his humor and the ability to always put a smile on their faces.
Everything was just so funny to him. You can never have a sad moment in front of him because he's not going to let you be sad. Us being here today, he would not want us to be sad. He would want us to be cracking jokes on each other, laughing, you know, having a good time because that's just who he was.
He was not a bad person. He would always hug me before he left and said, "Love you."
Police arrested 3 suspects in connection with Garcia Mendoza's death on Friday and are still searching for the 4th person involved in the shooting.
He was just very loving and very caring and such a great man. We lost a very great man.
His family has set up a GoFundMe to support the wife and 2 children he leaves behind. We'll link you over to that fundraiser at fox13now.com. In Kearns, Diego Romo, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Now to a developing story in Clearfield. A man is facing attempted homicide charges after he admitted to shooting at another man at a large party overnight. Police were called out to a shooting in the area of 5th West, 150 North. When officers got there, somewhere between 50 and 75 people all split up and left the scene. Investigators also found a man shot in the arm. He was taken to McKay Hospital. Police arrested 21-year-old Michael Hernandez in this case. He's now locked up in the Davis County Jail. In South Salt Lake, investigators have identified the victim in a homicide this weekend. South Salt Lake police say 26-year-old Mustafa Hosseini was shot and killed just before 2 Saturday morning in the area of 2250 South and 5th East. Police are still searching for suspects, and they're asking anyone with information or home surveillance, pictures or video to please give them a call.
A group of demonstrators, meantime, gathered outside where the Transgender Health Services program is located at the University of Utah Hospital today. The group protested this clinic's practices, which they say involve giving things like puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones, and sex reassignment surgery. The protesters believe practices like these are harmful to the kids and cause permanent, irreversible damage.
It can affect their health in different aspects of their bodies for the rest of their lives and cause irreversible damage.
Trans advocates we spoke with say gender clinics are vital and that eliminating them would be dangerous.
It's disingenuous to just focus on this medical care and say, like, this is just about transgender kids. Puberty blockers are used in precocious puberty all the time when a child's puberty starts early in their life.
A bill that would have made practices like those conducted at so-called gender clinics illegal. That bill failed during the latest legislative session.
It's probably going to be a busy fire season. Again, probably as busy as last year.
Even with snow in the mountains, fire officials are looking ahead at the upcoming fire season. We'll take a look at the new tool they'll be using to locate fires faster.
I never want any other girl to feel like it's impossible or that they can't, and I hope that
it's a boys thing and that girls can't do it.
Giving hope to many young women. Two Utah sisters taking their place in history tonight. In a Fox 13 exclusive, we'll show you their path to becoming some of the first female Eagle Scouts in the nation.
And caught on camera, a moose roaming through a Centerville neighborhood. How first responders came together to safely capture this animal. We'll be right back. Thanks for joining us tonight. This time last year, the urban flea market in Salt Lake City shut down due to COVID safety precautions. 1 year later, they're back open and plenty busy with market goers. The monthly market reopened last July. Organizers say they've seen a steady amount of business since then. While the market is open, they only allow half the amount of vendors they had before they shut down last year to allow for more social distancing.
All the vendor booths are spaced apart, so people can spread out and social distance as needed. Masks are required, even at our outdoor markets, for the safety and comfort of our vendors and our attendees.
Market organizers tell us that they are following CDC guidelines and will continue to require masks even if the state mandate is lifted.
Well, did you realize today is Pi Day, the day we pay tribute to the mathematical constant pi, or of course 3.14. It also marks the 6th annual Dress for STEM. Dress for STEM is a day meant to bring awareness to the lack of women in the fields of science, technology, engineering, and math. Everyone taking part is encouraged to wear purple. It's being honored today and tomorrow. Organizers for Dress for STEM say getting more women in these fields helps to bring diverse minds to the fields.
It's so important to have women at the table when it comes to solving scientific problems. When we have more women in STEM careers, we bring more diverse solutions to the table.
According to the group Dress for STEM and their organizers, women make up half of our nation's workforce, but only about a fourth of those jobs in these STEM fields.
Well, this isn't something you see every day, or at least something that gets captured on video. A moose out and about in the neighborhood this weekend.
Wow, I'm just checking them out. That would be some sight to see if you looked out your front lawn and saw that guy out there. Centerville police sent in the video. They say that officers from their department and other surrounding agencies were actually able to come together, get the moose cornered, and then with the help of Utah DWR, they were able to tranquilize this big guy and safely move him back into the wild.
Yeah, that's a big one. We've seen some calm weather here in the Wasatch Front this weekend, but in Colorado and Wyoming, they've been experiencing a major winter storm. Northern Colorado saw anywhere from 14 to 24 inches of snow, while Cheyenne, Wyoming saw 25.8 inches of snow by noon today. That breaks a two-day total record. About 2,000 flights in and out of Denver International Airport were canceled this weekend due to all that snow.
Our flight was canceled. Her flight from California was canceled.
If you want to be safe, and we want our community to be the safest that it can be, please stay home.
Well, this is the same system that dumped snow in St. George and throughout parts of southern Utah a few days ago, but just missed all those ski resorts in northern Utah. Not as much. Some places did get a couple inches over the weekend, but nothing big like those totals.
They had so much snow. You know, I saw the signs flashing on I-80 that it had to be shut down because of all that snow. And Breck, you were seeing reports of what, like 5-foot gusts and big giant piles of it?
5-foot drifts. They had blizzard warnings in effect across most of Wyoming with those strong winds, the snow. Yeah, closing down I-80. It is shut down from Evanston towards Rock Springs until noon tomorrow. And of course, the snow, we didn't quite let go of it today, at least for eastern Utah. Right before sunset, this was the scene in Moab. Usually you can see Castleton Tower, but it's being blocked by some clouds and some snow and significant mounts towards southeastern Utah. The South Mountains showing reports anywhere between 10 to 20 inches of new snow. This storm moving on, and it was a calm day, as we're showing you right now, a view from our Intermountain camera. Throughout the afternoon, it was sunny, it was clear, it was nice, and we're still holding on to temperatures in the upper 40s. But the official high today in Salt Lake City, 57 degrees, so warmer than yesterday, above normal. And as we look for the upcoming week, for most days will be above normal. But we've got a little bump to the road with another storm that we need to talk about and get you ready for that. Looking at other highs statewide, we did get up to 60 degrees in Ogden, 42 in Evanston, 40s in Vernal, to low 50s in Price. Only in the 40s today in Milford. How about low 50s in Cedar City? And temperatures in St. George, not quite as warm today, but you look to warm up here as we progress throughout the week. So looking at your headlines, we get a short break from the storms, mainly on Monday, but as we head into Monday afternoon and evening, western, southwestern Utah, the next storm hits. And it's going to be spreading that moisture across the state. For Tuesday, we're going to see a decent chance of both a mixture of rain and snow. No current watches and warnings in effect. Again, I mentioned you look just to the east, you see all that in red. That is blizzard warnings that are in effect throughout tonight through tomorrow morning. So that's what you can see. Travel conditions through that region will be tough. But let's talk about across the state. All right, I'm going to show you what the models are showing, how much snow will fall over the next 48 hours. But let's first initially show you the next 24 hours. So going up until tomorrow, where tomorrow late afternoon into the evening, we potentially could see 1 to 3 inches in Bryan Head. But tomorrow night through Tuesday evening, significantly more. Once again, this storm kind of in a similar track in that it's coming in from the south and then pushing towards the northeast, so bringing that moisture in initially across southern Utah, and where we'll see most of the precipitation through central and southern Utah as we go again from Monday into Tuesday. Thus, as we look towards northern Utah, next 24 hours, not much. We look ahead, though. Not a bad storm, a couple of inches in Park City, 4 inches in Sundance, maybe a little bit more as we look in the Cottonwood Canyons. But as we saw from this last storm, these storms and the direction and the pattern and the movement really helping out central and southern Utah, where, again, we need to build that snowpack. We need it all across the state, but we're seeing in spots that, again, could use it more, especially across southwestern Utah. We've got some clouds in place in that region. Northern Utah, we're looking at partly cloudy skies, as we'll start off with a little bit of sunshine, but more clouds will come in. It's going to be a gray day, and there's our storm. Again, it gets here, it looks like late tomorrow night through Tuesday. So for tonight, it's not bad. Cool, well, so we're looking at temperatures in the 30s along the Wasatch Front, 20s and 30s through central Utah. We start to see the showers late afternoon, western through southwestern Utah. It's delayed hitting northern Utah on Tuesday, but ahead of that, we're going to find temperatures even warmer than what we found today, and that means 60s for St. George. With the showers late Monday into Tuesday, we could see snow once again for St. George to start off on your Tuesday, and accumulating snow, so traveling on Tuesday morning will be difficult, even Monday night, but Tuesday late, things look to improve and really look nice as we look towards the weekend, but then another chance of some rain showers next week Sunday. Northern Utah, here's the roller coaster ride. 60s to 50s, a mixture of rain and snow for Tuesday. Wednesday, we're clearing out. We get back into the 60s, close to 70 degrees on Friday. Next weekend looks a little bit wet. Sunday, we bring a chance of some rain showers. So these are the spring showers we typically see. But here, at least for Tuesday, we might see a little bit more snow.
We want to be able to see areas that are more remote. Most of the fires that happen on the Wasatch Front are reported within a minute.
For the first time in Utah, fire officials are using detection cameras. We'll take a look at the impact this can make come fire season.
We learn a lot from just soaking in kind of other people's experience. And so not having that direct kind of in-person interaction does make a difference.
Education in Utah does look a lot different now than pre-pandemic style, and so do the results. Coming up at 9:30, an exclusive in-depth report on how and where your children are learning.
After a very busy 2020 fire season in Utah with a record number of human-caused fires, a big change is on the way ahead of the upcoming season. Unlike other western states that have wildfire detection cameras to help locate fires and smoke columns in some sometimes rural or tough-to-access areas, Utah has not had this crucial resource until now.
Relatively speaking, it's probably going to be a busy fire season. Again, probably as busy as last year.
Those working in the world of wildfire are preparing for another year.
This year, fuels are worse off than they were last year at this time.
Now, heading into a new season, fire managers have a new piece of technology on their side when looking for fire and smoke.
You can definitely see a lot of detail. If there was a fire in this spot, it would show up.
Funded by Rocky Mountain Power, Utah Forestry, Fire, and State Lands will have the capability to use camera detection for the first time.
These cameras will enable our dispatchers and our fire managers to get an instant view on a fire that's within the view sheds of these cameras.
Curry says the cameras will be used for fire detection, observation, and resource planning, and can be controlled to rotate and zoom in to critical spots.
You'd be able to see how big the fire was. You'd be able to see access roads and determine the best route in. You'd be able to see the flame and the fire behavior.
Rocky Mountain Power installed the cameras as part of their wildfire mitigation efforts.
With these cameras, they really help our situational awareness on the ground.
For Rocky Mountain Power, in addition to their 20-plus weather monitoring systems, these cameras will help track conditions and determine if they need to de-energize lines. While most fires along the Wasatch Front are reported within minutes, this could be a game changer for those fire-prone areas off the beaten path.
Especially in areas that are a little more remote. We can see wildfires before crews get there. We can zoom these very powerful cameras in on an area where there's an emerging event.
Well, right now there are 6 active live cameras in the state with hopes of having 14 of them being online by the end of the spring. These cameras are public and can be viewed online. You can also have a role in reporting smoke if you happen to see it while viewing these cameras. We show you that on our website, fox13now.com.
It just feels different because the energy is going to be lower with just that, screen issue rather than being face to face.
Intentions of safeguarding your children during the pandemic could have unhealthy impacts. Up next, Fox 13's Kelly Chapman takes an in-depth look at in-person education versus online learners when we come back.
And therefore, I'm announcing today a soft closure of all of Utah's public schools.
I don't really know what we'll do.
You'll pick up a packet of work for 2 weeks and you'll be checking in with your teacher online, or it could be fully online.
But I know with a lot of parents, that's just not an option, so that's really hard.
Boy, this was 1 year ago this weekend. The lives of parents all across Utah were turned upside down. Students started online learning. Just a short time after that announcement, a new realm for the majority of families not really knowing how to make school work. during a pandemic.
The adjustment has been overwhelming for some. New data shows there is a difference between in-person and web-based learners, with the rates of failing grades spiking among one of those groups.
There is hope, though, to reverse this trend, although experts say it's not going to be easy. Fox 13's Kelly Chapman takes a closer look in tonight's in-depth report.
Education as we know it today is dramatically different than just over a year ago. Schools shutting down, fears of COVID-19, as well as the choices on how to learn. Big choices of in-person instruction or home-based learning that for many families did not come easily and for some are missing the mark. Reading, writing, and arithmetic. A formula for Utah school children that up until a year ago has been traditional and predictive. Students go to school and teachers lead at the front of the class. Now, in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, mouse clicks, computer screens, and virtual meetups have entered the learning platform, disrupting face-to-face interaction between students and educators, taking away valuable social interactions and pushing students to learn online, oftentimes isolated, with no peer mentorship or academic and social validation.
We're seeing increased rates of anxiety, increased rates of depression, even increased rates of things like suicidal thinking.
In March 2020, schools were ordered to stop in-person instruction. At first, a 2-week soft closure. Soon after, a total shutdown for the remainder of the school year. Utah's school districts responded by transitioning to home-based learning, where grades quickly began to speak for the lessons learned, and in this case, not learned.
It's a legitimate concern.
The Granite School District has roughly 62,000 students. When they went to a strictly virtual platform last March to the end of the academic year, 40% of their student body finished with failing marks. That's about 24,000 students.
Some students thrive with the flexibility offered through distance learning. Very small. So to weigh those two, obviously we're going to be leaning towards the in-person for the overwhelming majority of our students.
Ben Horsley, spokesman for the Granite School District, says there are obvious reasons in the breakdown of education when it comes to in-person learners versus home-based or online learners.
If you're a teacher and you're sitting in a classroom and Bobby over here doesn't understand a math problem, it's so easy to be able to walk over to him. You got your masks on, be able to provide that intervention and that tier 2 instruction and give him the support he needs immediately. When it's a distance learner, what does that look like?
What is clear to administrators is the stark difference in learning patterns.
We continue to see distance learners struggle more consistently than we do in-person instruction.
At the start of the current school year, 26% of all Granite students chose to remain online. The remaining 74% returning to the classroom. During a typical school year, 1% of students fail, holding true for in-person learners right now. But for online learners, the failing rate jumps to 4%.
We learn a lot from just soaking in kind of other people's experience. And so not having that direct kind of in-person interaction does make a difference.
A psychologist with Primary Children's Hospital, Dr. Annie Deming, points out more than just academic failures and success. The way students mature emotionally and interact with peers is a vast component of childhood education.
Continue not to have those types of opportunities, we can have kids who are going to struggle with just basic social skills as well as maybe relationship skills later on.
She says when a student is not in the classroom, nonverbal cues can be missed.
You also aren't necessarily getting as much of the expressiveness or excitement that the teacher might have for a subject. It just feels different because the energy is going to be lower with just that, screen issue rather than being face-to-face.
Even with noticeable deficiencies among online learners, there is hope.
We haven't passed a point of no return. The good news is we can always learn new skills, and in particular kids, their brains are designed to learn new things.
Matriculation of online students can be bridged and sometimes even seamless back to a traditional in-person learning foundation, but will heavily vary from student to student. Something the Granite School District is doing their homework on right now.
As we look towards recovering, right? Building these kids back up to where they should be. This is going to be a multi-year process.
Ben there did tell me the Granite School District will offer summer school classes for students needing extra enrichment or the opportunity to catch up in a subject. And when the new school year starts, teachers will be very conscious of providing extra help to struggling students. And when it comes to virtual-based learning, that option will still be available, and it does work for a certain type of learner, and their home-based opportunities will likely increase. In studio, Kelly Chapman, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Lots more ahead on Fox 13 News at 9. Coming up, we'll show you how Utah is working to get rid of a dangerous pest that destroys crops.
Plus, we'll introduce you to the first female Eagle Scouts in our state in a Fox 13 exclusive.
And as we go to break, let's show you a time lapse from our Oquirrh Mountain camera looking across the Salt Lake Valley. We started the day with the clouds thinning out, plenty of blue sky. Now we're going to bring back the clouds and a chance for some showers. When does that storm hit? How will it impact your travels over the next couple of days? We'll time it all out for you after the break.
Thanks so much for joining us tonight. Turning to the Japanese beetle devastating to Utah farms, Fox 13's Aaron Cox explains the state's plan now to eliminate the insect before it destroys local crops.
The Japanese beetle was first found in Orem in 2006, and despite state efforts, they have spread across northern Utah.
Unfortunately, though, we found beetles further in Davis County through our monitoring program, and we also found beetles that popped up in Utah and Weber County.
For the past 14 years, the Utah Department of Agriculture has seen a steady decline in the population, but there still is a slow spread among other counties. And while it's low in numbers, it's forcing Utah to ramp up their eradication efforts.
We want to find these beetles when there's one, not 1,000.
The Japanese beetle is a destructive and invasive pest that feeds on the foliage of more than 300 different plants, including many popular and economically important fruits and vegetables.
Ultimately, we don't want any beetles, as they will just continue to populate and cause social, environmental, and economic impacts on the great state of Utah.
Utahns in the area where their state will be administering the pesticide will receive a mailer explaining the process and what they will need to do.
We want to make sure that people have their windows closed, that lawn or kids' play toys and that are picked up off the lawn, that we're not spraying pollinating flowers for our bees. So there's precautions to take as always with any pesticide.
The state says that the pesticide they are using to fight the Japanese beetles is common and used by most lawn service companies across Utah.
This chemical that we have chosen to use, acelepryn, has low toxicity for humans, pets, bees, birds, and earthworms. It's safe, essentially considered to be a reduced risk pesticide with low toxicity.
Pesticide application is scheduled to begin in April and end in early May, but the UDAF is holding a virtual open house on March 25th at 6 p.m. They will answer any questions and concerns from the public about the eradication efforts.
We need to go a number of years, 2-3 years of capturing no beetles in our delimiting grids, those high-density trapping areas, to determine and declare that the pest has been eradicated.
Aaron Cox, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Now, the state would like you to contact them if you find any Japanese beetles in your area. Luckily, they are pretty easy to identify. You saw a few pictures of them there. Here's another one. They're just about 1/2 inch in length with a metallic green head and copper brown wings. The sides of their stomach area have 5 white patches of hairs, and the tip of their stomach has 2 patches of white hair. Much more for you coming up next. Hard work accomplished by 2 Davis County teens paying off. We're going to bring you an exclusive look at the first 2 female Eagle Scouts in Utah.
Coming up in sports, the Cougars and Aggies hear their names called during the NCAA basketball tournament selection show. I'll tell you where they landed. And the Jazz started a 5-game road trip today against Golden State. Warriors always tough with Stephen Curry. Highlights are on the way.
Catch and shoot by Curry.
Thanks so much for joining us on this Sunday night. We're so glad you're here with us on Fox 13 News at 9. Two Davis County teens are the first in the history of Utah to achieve a major milestone, but their accomplishment is sure to be repeated by many others.
In a story you will only see right here, Fox 13's John Franke introduces us to these trailblazing siblings.
It's often said that sisters do everything together. Well, the sisters you're about to meet decided to earn something that until recently no female had the opportunity to earn before.
It's better that we got to share it.
19-year-old Allie Mills and 13-year-old Evelyn Mills are separated by 6 years of age, but connected by an unrelenting desire to reach goals.
I always really wanted to become an Eagle Scout, but I knew that it would never be a thing that I could do.
The sisters grew up in a family where scouting is an important part of life.
My brothers always did it, and I just liked doing the adventure.
For decades, taking part in scouting, let alone earning the Eagle rank, was out of reach for females, as the organization only allowed boys. That all changed in February of 2019 when the gender barrier came crashing down.
Allie started really pushing forward, and I was like, oh, I kind of want to get it now. And so then I started going with her, and we started working together.
Allie and Evelyn set their sights on becoming the first female Eagle Scouts in the state of Utah.
It wasn't very competitive, but we did definitely push each other because there were deadlines.
The two worked on their individual service projects. Evelyn focused on protecting the endangered monarch butterfly. Allie worked on raising awareness for LGBTQ+ suicide prevention.
I had learned that suicide was more prevalent in those communities, and that just really touched my heart.
After earning all the required badges and completing their service work, Evelyn and Allie earned the rank of Eagle Scout at the exact same moment. Mission accomplished.
It would have felt less special to me if it was just one of us, and it was fun being able to experience that together.
They're the first females in the state of Utah to reach the goal, but they won't be the last.
I never want any other girl to feel like it's impossible or that they can't, and I hope that they see that
it's a boys thing and that girls can't do it.
Yeah, I hope that they see that it's possible.
What was once only a dream,
A scout is trustworthy, loyal,
helpful, friendly, courteous, kind,
is now in striking distance for anyone.
obedient, cheerful, thrifty,
brave, clean, and reverent.
Willing to work for the achievement.
It gives girls a sense of empowerment that has kind of been stolen away from them in the past. And I really appreciate that it's now an opportunity for young girls.
The Crossroads of the West Council tells me 5 young ladies in Utah have earned their Eagle rank so far, with 2 more getting set for their board review. Congrats to all. In the newsroom, John Franke, Fox 13 News, Utah.
I only got to the high rank of tenderfoot. Did get my weather merit badge though, so that's helping me out. All right, let's take a look at the situation as it pertains to the snowpack to give you an update on what we received, of course, over the past 3 days and how it helped out, especially across southern Utah. I'm showing you the snowpack from last week. Of course, we made some great strides throughout February where we almost got up to 80% of normal, then kind of lost some ground. But as we updated as of this morning, things have improved. We've moved up by about 4 percentage points, especially as we look towards southwestern into southeastern Utah, northeastern Utah. That's, of course, where we saw all that snow, even up in the higher terrain. Uinta Mountains picking up 10 to 20 inches. Eastern Uinta Mountains close to 30 to 40 inches. So helping out. Again, we didn't see a lot across northern Utah, and we have another storm on the way. But things are calm statewide. Currently, we're looking at clear skies in St. George, temperatures in the low 50s. Across the Wasatch Front at this hour, we're still hanging on to the 40s. Under partly cloudy skies, we are bringing in some clouds, though, overnight, which will allow temperatures not to cool off too much. You can see those high-level clouds tracking in. Not seeing much of a threat of showers. This is just a surge of some moisture ahead of our next storm system where we don't see any activity from radar right now. One storm moving on, another one to take its place in its current position, now tracking through northern into central California. And as we saw from this last storm, it's digging southward and it will make its push towards the state of Utah, coming in from the south. and it looks like it's going to bring another chance of some snow showers in extreme southern Utah. Now let's time it out, looking at the computer models tonight through tomorrow morning. We're just looking at those clouds rolling through, no showers. And we keep it dry with partly cloudy skies across northern Utah, mostly cloudy skies across the south. Once we hit late afternoon into the evening, the showers begin to form. Extreme western Utah, and then tomorrow night we're seeing a mixture of rain and snow as we turn towards St. George, moving up through Cedar City. So traveling Tuesday morning, again, as we saw Friday into Saturday, you're going to have some slushy roads in between St. George and Cedar City. Over towards Kanab, you've got some concerns. Panguitch, Bryce Canyon, moving up to Richfield, Capitol Reef, and then the showers really start taking an impact there for the Central Mountains, turning northward as well. But again, we see that wraparound moisture, which is not very favorable for the Wasatch Front or the northern mountains, but we get hit with some showers as we look late Tuesday with a mixture of rain and snow along the Wasatch Front. But again, the heaviest and more persistent precipitation will be central through southern Utah, turning eastward as we look towards Tuesday night. By Wednesday, we're clearing the storm out. So it's a little bit more of a quick mover. It's not going to do as much damage, but it will add on to that snowpack again as we really look towards central and southern Utah. So for tomorrow, hour by hour forecast. Mostly cloudy skies. Temperatures will be warmer. A little bit more of a breeze, though, ahead of that next storm, of course, hitting on Tuesday, but it begins to take shape and form across southern Utah tomorrow night. Highs then tomorrow, warmer into the 60s in Salt Lake City, close to 60 degrees in Provo, 40s and 50s in Vernal and Price, and for St. George with a high of 63 degrees. You get the showers tomorrow night. Tuesday with a little snow and a mixture of rain and snow through Tuesday. Wednesday, you're clear and warming up. You're into the 70s by Friday. Next storm hits Sunday, bringing a chance of rain. Now for northern Utah, 60s to 50s. There's the storm it hits. Again, it's kind of a hit and miss situation like we saw yesterday. Wednesday, it's 50s, back into the 60s, and then it looks like we'll see some rain next week, Sunday.
The Jazz started a 5-game road trip this afternoon against the Golden State Warriors. Road wins have been tough to come by. The Jazz have lost 4 of their last 5 games away from home. The Warriors are already tough to beat when they have Stephen Curry on the court, that's for sure. Here he is, 3 is up and good, plus the foul. 4-point play, part of a 15-0 run to put the Warriors up 13 points in the first quarter. The Jazz played catch-up the rest of the way. Joe Ingles inside to Rudy Gobert. Jam and the foul. Gobert had 24 points, 28 rebounds, 4 blocks. Mike Conley, big second quarter. Nice drive off the glass and in. 18 of his 23 in the first half. But the Warriors kept their lead. Draymond Green, the flush. Warriors up 13 at the half. Third quarter, Donovan Mitchell gets it in stride, and he knocks down the 3. He finished with 24 points in this one. Here's more from Gobert. Conley gets it to him on the alley-oop. Then it's Ingles to Gobert. Power slam. Jazz down 3 in the 4th. Jordan Clarkson hits some big buckets, drains the 3, then gets in the paint. 2 of his 21 points. The lead was down to 1 with 7:36 to play. But the Warriors continued to hit the big shots. Curry, 3 of his 32 points. Then he whips a pass. Cross court to Andrew Wiggins. His 3 is good. He had 28. The Warriors won at 131-119, dropping the Jazz to 28-10. Jazz now fly across the country to play in Boston on Tuesday. The NCAA basketball bracket is set and the Cougars are in. BYU is a 6th seed. They'll play the winner of the Michigan State-UCLA game in the first round on Saturday. The Spartans and Bruins will play on Thursday in the first 4. If the Cougars win, they'll face the winner between Texas and Abilene Christian in the second round. Yeah, the Aggies also heard their name called on Selection Sunday. Utah State is an 11th seed. They'll face 6th seed Texas Tech in the first round on Friday. The winner advances to play either Arkansas or Colgate in the second round. All the games in the tournament are played in Indiana. Congratulations to BYU runner Courtney Wayman. The senior from Davis High School anchored BYU's distance medley relay to a national championship. Then yesterday, she won the 3,000-meter run, her second national title in the indoor championships. Coming up, Fox 13 Sports page, we'll hear from the Jazz after today's loss, plus the BYU and Utah State basketball teams after they learned their NCAA tournament hopes. We also have the BYU football, Weber State football, after a nice win for the Wildcats on Saturday. We'll be right back.
Thanks so much for watching Fox 13 News at 9. Stay with us. Quick Cast coming up next.